How are y'all feeling today? Awesome. I'm Kimberly Springle. I'm the executive director here at the Charles Sumner School Museum and Archives. And it gives me great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this space, the historic Charles Sumner School Museum and Archives. Many of you in the room may know about this building, but for those of you who do not, this is hallowed ground, as I like to say. It's very sacred and very significant in the history of the city of Washington, D.C. It's one of the first public elementary schools built for African American children in Washington, D.C., 1872. And as many of you know, this beautiful structure was designed for African American children only 10 years after slavery was abolished in the city. So that is what makes my jaw drop when I walk here every day. But given that history, there's a lot of historic things that happened here, including Frederick Douglass was here for the dedication in 1872, and later served as the commencement address speaker for the first high school graduation of African American graduates in the nation of the then preparatory school of colored youth, which predates Dunbar High School, Armstrong High School, and Cardozo. It's the foundation of Black secondary education in the city. So that's why he's here with us this evening and always. And also he was a friend of Senator Charles Sumner. So just a little bit about that origin history. What we are today is the official museum and archives for DC public education. How many DCPS alumni are in the room by a show of hands or applause? Yes. So today what we do is we celebrate, we honor, we preserve the history of public education, the legacy of public schools, faculty, alumni, teachers, everyone that makes up the system, and many of the wonderful honorees this evening I know are also DC Public School alum. So I'm very pleased to have you in this space to honor local history, to honor the history of Kingman Park, which is the home of several of our schools, which we also have documented here as well, and hope to document further. And just want to invite you all to continue to be engaged with the mission of the Charles Sumner School Museum and Archives. And actually, my Kingman Park Association, Fraser Walton, is actually on our board of Friends of Sumner, but I met him when he started trying to pull together these documents to preserve these historic sites on the hill, the schools on the hill, and also just within the neighborhood. So again, welcome to you all. Thank you for being here. I want to see you all again. We also have a sign-in list downstairs to be engaged with our listserv and public events. We have open houses every month, once a month, celebrating the history and legacy of public education. We also have a lecture series every summer, beginning in June, that celebrates those who come and do research here and send it out in the masses in honor of the founding director and first archivist. So again, just stay connected with us. You can find us on social media if you're on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and also we have a website. So again, it gives me great pleasure and honor to see you all. Welcome and enjoy the program. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. To our guests, attendees, honorees, and especially to our hosts of the summer school. My name is Fraser Walton, and I'm president of the Kingman Park Civic Association. And I sort of have a hard act to follow with Kimberly, but I'm going to read what I have to say. Kingman Park is the neighborhood located near RFK Stadium. It borders Bennings Road Northeast, and most of you are probably familiar with that area. We've gathered today to celebrate one of the most important chapters in American history. This is the period in history when the nation, through divine intervention, received deliverance from segregation. This chapter also includes the establishment of Kingman Park and the dramatic and direct impact that the community had on the subsequent desegregation of the nation's schools. Specifically, on May 17, 2019, that was yesterday, the 1954 U.S. Supreme Court decision in Brown versus the Board of of Education turned 65 years of age. This decision declared the doctrine of separate but equal unconstitutional and directed the way for integration in nearly every sector of American life. Equally important was the lesser-known decision and companion case of Bowley versus Sharp, decided the same day by the U.S. Supreme Court, the same day as Brown versus Topeka. This decision, the Bowley decision, integrated the public schools of the District of Columbia. Unlike the Brown versus Topeka decision, Brown only applied to the states. It did not apply to the District of Columbia. But more importantly, the Bowley v. Sharp decision also integrated all of the territories held by the United States of America, including Guam, the Mariana Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and all of the organized, what they called organized, and formally established islands of the United States. So that's a little known fact. Brown did not do that. It was Bowley v. Sharp. We're still trying for home rule or at least representation. So it's my suggestion that they use Bowley v. Sharp to argue that, because it's a direct derivative of that case. When we look at the past in light of the future, it is clear to see that Kingman Park has produced some of the most distinguished American citizens the country has had to offer. The Kingman Park Historic District also includes a number of local and National Register sites, including the Langston Terrace dwellings, the Langston Golf Course, and the Brown, Spingarn, Young, and Phelps educational campus. Each of those institutions are on both the local and National Register of the United States. No other neighborhood in Washington, D.C. carries that distinction. On May the 23rd, 2018, 1 year ago, Kingman Park became the first District of Columbia officially designated neighborhood district that is based upon its heritage as an African American community. We have organized this gala today to celebrate and recognize some of the many residents, students, and visitors to Kingman Park who make great contributions to the District of Columbia and to the nation. Noteworthy is the fact that Kingman Park began in 1928 during a period of intense segregation and has had a long history of struggle, endurance, and success, led only by the spiritual faith of the community. We wish to congratulate each and every one of you, and we hope that you enjoy the evening that we're about to embark on. Thank you very much.
Good evening, and again, welcome. My name is Joe Edwards. If you would, as your hearts allow, please bow your heads as we go to the Creator of all of us in a word of prayer. Our Father above, we thank thee this day for life and limb, for health and strength. We ask now that you bless this food which we are about to consume. Bless also the hands which have prepared. But likewise, Father, we ask that you bless the occasion of history, of heritage, culture, friendship, and family that we celebrate today. These and all things we ask them expectantly. Amen. Amen. Amen again. Thank you.
the back of your booklet are the words for Lift Up Your Voice and Sing. And I've heard people tell me that they could not get out of school. They had to sing it every day, all 3 verses. So all 3 verses.
previously as Deputy Commander of the U.S. Strategic Command at Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska. He also served in various high-level Department of Defense and Department of Navy staff and special assignments, both in the Pentagon and elsewhere. At the century mark of our submarine service, he was only one of 7 African-American qualified sub-commanders. They are referred to throughout the submarine service as the Group of C7. During his career and following, and many of them were very, very accomplished, they continued to mentor and develop younger officers. In addition, this gentleman has been a lifetime learner. In addition to his degree from the Naval Academy, his bachelor's, he's earned 2 master's degrees. One in engineering, acoustics, and systems technology from the Naval Postgraduate School, and another master's in security strategy from the National Defense University. His late parents, Jesse and Ellen, always stressed education. I'm sure both will be justly proud. Moreover, Admiral Haney has received numerous awards. I will not name them all, they're listed in your program, but I will mention just a couple. He received the Distinguished Service Medal, the Defense Superior Service Medal, 2 awards, the Legion of Merit, 4 awards. He received a very special award in 1998. It's called the Vice Admiral James Bond Stockdale Leadership Award. This award is only given to 2 commanding officers of naval vessels each year. So it's extremely tough competition. One on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. And he earned this award. Following his retirement from a long and distinguished service in the active Navy, Admiral Haney has continued to support the defense community and the nation, serving as a board member on several key boards. Again, these are listed in the program in detail, but I'll share a couple of them with you. One of which is serving on the National Academy of Science Naval Studies Board, and another is serving as a committee leader on the Center of New American Studies Board of Directors. Admiral Haney has 3 adult children, Elizabeth, Thomas, and Joseph. And he has 3 grandchildren, keep him very busy. His hobbies include traveling, biking, and generally staying fit. It is with great pleasure that I present to some and introduce to others. Again, the first of our very distinguished guests, Admiral Cecil E. Haney. Welcome, sir. I salute you. The Admiral has been gracious enough in acknowledging to also share a few brief comments with us. Again, let's give him a warm round of applause.
And boy, I'm a bit overwhelmed, not just with the award piece, but just the history of this place and me not knowing about it. I like history, and it's probably another hobby. And just walking around seeing this museum, I know I need to come back and spend a lot more time looking at it. It's pretty neat what this organization has done in terms of keeping the legacy alive. And I think it's so important going forward. You mentioned my parents, and have my 2 siblings. I was bookended by 2 sisters. Dr. Yvonne Coates, who taught at DC Public Schools, So many things I could discuss in terms of just the remarkable journey I was able to have. One with family, having the 3 kids, my late wife Bonnie, who really grounded us all in terms of duty station to duty station to duty station all over the country. And quite frankly, as I look at this award, I sort of salute her in terms of hearing me out as I'd come home late at night
suffering command. So at this time, we'd like to present our Kingman Park Historic District Award to Admiral Cecil D. Hayden. We also, yes. attended DC Public Schools. She's a graduate of the famed Paul Lawrence Dunbar Senior High School. Joy celebrated her 90th birthday at the house of her parents' home. 90th birthday, I'm sorry. I say 99. My correction, I'm sorry. time, we would like to make the next award is James Russell Williams, senior, and it will be presented by Dolly McHugh.
Good evening. One of Kingman Park's most successful businessmen and philanthropic humanitarian is James Jim R. Wiggins Sr., who inspired and helped educate many of the city's youth. 60 years ago, James began his vocation by opening a barber shop on Diddy Road Northeast, and later expanded the business by establishing one of the most well-known sandal shops in the city. He provided rental housing for residents of the community and often provided it at no cost. Mr. Wiggins' greatest contribution to the city was his work in establishing the nationally known Summer Basketball League, better known as the DC Urban Coalition League. Along with Georgetown basketball coach John Thompson, their creation of the league was unique and significant because it blended and combined amateur, college, and professional basketball players who entertained thousands of inner-city fans and residents throughout the Washington area who would otherwise never get to see professional and outstanding college basketball talent. Many of the National Basketball Association players included Philadelphia 76ers Julius Erving and George the Iceman Gervin. Some of the other players were Sherman Douglas, Adrian Dantley, Moses Malone, and David Robinson, to name a few. The Summer League program became so successful that the professional Washington Bullets basketball team became a full partner in the creation and success of the Summer League. According to the DC Metropolitan Police, when the Summer League played on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, the entire crime rate of the city decreased, and this was attributed to the thousands of underprivileged youth who were participants and fans all in attendance over the years at Roosevelt, Spingarn, or Dunbar high schools. The secret to the success of the league was the financial and humanitarian management of the coalition and the dedication of all those who made the league a local and national success. Mr. Wiggins attended Armstrong Senior High School and Howard University. I present to some and introduce to others Mr. James R. Wiggins Sr.
John Thompson. We went to the NCAA convention in San Diego, California. And I met the brothers that started the hamburger chain. Became one of the famous ones in this country. And he told me, Mr. Wiggins, you can take 2 cents in a hamburger and sell it for 15. And you all know the 50-cent hamburger shop there, 2401 Benny Road. But there's a story behind that one. I bought the
encouraged people and made them go home instead of peacefully protesting in the streets and causing ruckus. And after this day, it trickled on down to his everyday life. He was a pillar for not only the community, for his church, for his family. Dad was always busy, you know, because I'm the baby boy. I was late in the game. So Dad was always busy, but Dad was never too busy for his family. He never missed a game. He never missed a PTA meeting. And he was never too busy to instill in us what community meant. So, you know, often Dad would force us to pass out those flyers that some of you guys got years ago between Oklahoma Avenue and 21st Street. If you got those bright flyers in your mailbox or in your cars, I'm your paper boy. But once again, we are so honored to accept the award on my dad's behalf. And we will forever be grateful and will forever be Kingman Park strong. Thank you guys so much.
At this time, we'd like to present this award to Alan Green's son. And of course, this is his additional token. On behalf of the Kingman Park Civic Association and the Kingman Park Historic District, it is a great pleasure that I introduce the late Dennis Lee Bobo, a member of the Kingman Park Civic Association and the nominating board of the Historic District. In the interest of true disclosure, Dennis was a great friend of mine and a confidant. He was also a member of the Spin Gone Alumni Association, and he coordinated the Spin Gone Alumni Association with the Kingman Park Civic Association in our efforts to get the designation for Kingman Park as a historic district. Dennis knew the history of the community. He was just a little older than myself, and I'll be 70 years old this year. But Dennis had a wealth of history. He was an electrical engineer by trade, graduate of Howard University. He was a licensed real estate agent. He was a marketing specialist, and most of all, he was a retired, dedicated fellow employee. I think he spent over 30, 35, 40 years in the United States government. But Dennis always believed in entrepreneurship. He was always talking to me about it. And the fact that we needed to go back to vocational education as well as college education. He was a great advocate of that, and we intend to push for the opening again of vocational schools because we truly need plumbers, we truly need carpenters, and electricians. And Dennis was an engineer, so he knew what he was talking about. We are proud to salute Dennis. Dennis had 3 master's degrees, 1 from Boyd State University and 2 from Johns Hopkins University. But Howard was his mainstay. That is where he met his wife, Mary. I guess that's why that's his mainstay. Dennis, again, accomplished many goals. And at this time, we want to salute Dennis Lee Bobo.
When I say that I am humbled, as well as being honored, I'm telling the truth. First of all, I did not expect to do any more than receive this gracious award and not have anything to say. But my husband, those of you who knew him, about making sure that we do bring that to our children. We have too many children who do not understand the links that they have, the history, the significance of what our people have gone through, and what we need to do to ensure a future for ourselves. I'm talking a little bit more. Dennis would probably say, Marion, that's enough, so I'll stop. I just really want to say I thank you so much for the Kingman Park community. You've represented a community for my family. I'd like them to stand. And my friends, for taking the time to come, because Dennis preached to all of us the importance of community and sticking together and doing whatever you could under any circumstances. He also said, we're good people. He also said they're good people. That was the highest honor that you could give to anybody, being a good person. So thank you very much, Kingman Park. You really give me a chance to work and be a part of good people. Thank you.
At this time, we'd like to present the Kingman Park Historic District Award to Dennis L. Bobo. And it's being presented, the late Dennis L. Bobo, and it's being presented to his wonderful wife and friend, Marion Bobo.
Thank you. I have to say one other thing, and stop me when you get in your mind. As my husband said, there are good people and there are many good people. I would like the people who are members of the board of Kingman Park to please stand. Please. Would you give these people a hand? One of the things that these good people of Kingman Park wanted you to know, that you can only do what you do when you work together and you have good leaders. And in this instance, you have to have good, hard-working, committed leaders. And we want to recognize two of them today. Kingman Park board members, would you please come up?
we were brought good luck, and we like to sing. And here comes Roderick. Roderick, our musician, is coming. And we'd like to give a hand to Roderick, too. Roderick is a very accomplished musician, a pianist and organist. He's a graduate of Peabody Institute in Baltimore. And as you know, Peabody and Juilliard in New York often fight as to who's the #1 music school in this country. That's right. So, at this time, we're ready, Roderick.
Happy birthday. So you can't let me get near a microphone. I'm not finished. There's one other person. The Kingman Park Civic Association citation for Veronica Ragland. Whereas Veronica Ragland has committed to an ongoing career of educating and advocating to meet the needs of people internationally, nationally, and locally. Worked with numerous organizations to explore ways to enrich and improve the physical and cultural environment of the District of Columbia residents. Consistently represented the concerns and the positions of residents, the local government representatives, boards, and hearings. Been a past elected agency representative to serve her Kingman Park community. Served as a major officer of the Kingman Park Civic Association for at least 10 years of its 80-plus year history. Finally, but most importantly, led the process of documenting, applying, petitioning, and successfully achieving the designation of Kingman Park, Washington, D.C., as a National Historic District, the first such recognition for an African American community in Washington, D.C. We, the Kingman Park Civic Association, recognize her as a civic champion on this date.
Hear, hear. You know, it's really hard to ambush Veronica and Tracy. I've been conspiratorial in this process, but we've got it done. Kingman Park Community Association Civic Champion Award is presented to Veronica Ragland for outstanding leadership and the successful application to designate Kingman Park, Washington, District of Columbia, a National Historic District. Kingman Park Civic Association, dated this 18th day of May, 2019.
That's what we talk about.
Heroes. Let's give a hand.
much about technology. But we're going to acknowledge him as well as, again, Roger. And we'd like to ask all Kingman Park residents, we have quite a few here, to please stand, if you would. All Kingman Park residents. Thank you very much. Kingman